Previously on Can You Beat Cyberpunk 2077 without V killing anyone?
Okay, so YouTube doesn't like curse words anymore, so from now on, when I say a curse word, it's going to be censored by this. Am I using that sound specifically because I'm insinuating some future content for this channel? Nah, of course not. Just because she's hot. But anyways, into the video. Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 3 of... Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 3 of Can You Beat Cyberpunk 2077 without V killing anyone? This is where I attempt to beat as much of the game as possible while limiting the amount of times I kill, shoot, or beat the absolute shit out of people. And before I get into this video, I want to make a quick adjustment to one of my rules, and that's rule number 2. And while I am going to still not count non-lethal takedowns, I am going to reduce the amount of times that I use them, and only use them if I absolutely have to. I feel like in the last 2 parts I was abusing this rule, and I just want to apologize for that. In fact, I decided to go back to a couple previous missions and redo them since I did way too many takedowns. The missions specifically are Disasterpiece and Ghost Town. If you want to skip seeing me do these missions, you can just click the timestamp in the description. However, let's start with Disasterpiece. It was really just a matter of running through the warehouse and reaching Evelyn. I did try to stealth it, but I ended up getting caught. However, getting to a checkpoint miraculously makes the enemies forget you exist. So takedowns were not necessary whatsoever. Ghost Town is a whole other story. While yes, it is possible to do it without taking anybody down, I had to deal with Panam's buggy AI once again. And unfortunately, I didn't have a save that was close, so I had to load up an earlier save instead. It started off with me having to pay Rogue, which is easy because I should have enough eddies. Are you f***ing kidding me? Selling practically my entire inventory and collecting the reward for Wakako was more than plenty. It was time to go back and talk to Rogue. Sorry Claire, I don't drink. After skipping more dialogue, meeting Panam, running into Mitch and Scorpion, collecting some gear, we eventually make it to the Ghost Town and interfere the Raffens. In part 2, I ended up taking the required amount of Raffens out because when attempting this with Panam doing all the work, she would either shoot and never hit her shots or just never shoot. Both options got me nowhere and I was starting to get pretty impatient. However, I decided to let Panam have a second chance. I got myself spotted and climbed up the tower where Panam was positioned. Panam, you have to shoot. Please, please shoot. Well, she started shooting, but she's missing her shots, so I need to get her closer to the Raffens. After running into her a few times, I started to climb down the tower, and sure enough, Panam started to follow. Immediately, she was firing shots, and she kills one Raffen. Well, she's getting closer, but she's refusing to peek out of cover. After invading her personal bubble a few times, Panam gets up and fires some more, but not hitting anyone. I stayed in her spot so that way she was forced to stand up and shoot, but that plan did not last long because this dick threw a gas grenade, so I was forced to flee. Now I cannot see where Panam is. Oh, who would have f***ing guessed? Why couldn't you have just done that the first time? It's time to advance forward and Panam straight up refuses. No matter where I stood, she would just find another piece of cover and sit there. It did take me way too long to realize that the Raffen with the Thornton keys was already shot down, so I make my way to pick them up, and before I could even make the decision whether or not to finish everyone else off, the dialogue disappears and the area is back into combat. And Panam is already at the top of the tower once again. Not only that, but she's holding a pistol and will not fire at anyone. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Panam is bugged out once again. Great game, CD Projekt Red. I eventually decided to reload a quick save that I made a bit ago, and this is not a joke. I did not edit this in any way. Panam snipes the remaining Raffens in quick succession. Why couldn't you have done this before instead of wasting 15 minutes of my life? The Thornton is now ours for the taking, and I've already completed the cave section with Panam killing everyone, and I refuse to do that again. If there are other missions that I should redo, let me know in the comments section and I'll do them again in future parts, but these were the 2 major ones that I wanted to redo. And with that being said, here are the adjusted rules, and let's get into the run. I first start by doing a little clothes shopping because I've been rocking this dress exclusively for the run, and it's time to change things up a bit. While I do a little shopping, everyone decides to give me a call. Hey lady, what you got for clothes? Oh, okay, guess I can't shop while someone's calling me. Just a second. How about something a bit more fancy? Dino, you had to call me at this time. Are you serious? This shop looks pretty promising. Wakako, you too? Sebastian, thank you for being the only person to call me while I wasn't shopping. Panam, I just did your side quest. Why are you calling me now? Alright, after a day's worth of shopping and taking phone calls, here's the current drip. Nice. I start by calling Mama Wells and offering my condolences. After that, I make my way to the El Coyote to participate in the ofrenda for Jackie. On the way, Wade Wilson's inbred second cousin asks me if I wanted to shoot some guns, and I happily decline because shooting weapons are not my cup of tea. I arrive at the El Coyote, decline a bottle of beer, and make my way to Jackie's garage, and I also run into Misty, who is still waiting for Jackie to appear online on Xbox Live. Should I, tell her, or...
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
I make my way inside of the garage, pick up a book, which is the first book I've touched in 5 years, admire some art,
It's hideous.
convince Misty to come to the ofrenda, and make my way back to the bar. After about 3 more minutes of dialogue skipping, is that joke getting old yet? It probably is. I leave the bar completing the mission. I know that Jackie's pistols spawn after 24 hours, and I could wait and grab them, but I choose not to. At least not yet. Because 1, I can't even use them, and 2, what's the point of grabbing Jackie's pistols if you can't dual wield them? After completing another assault in progress, I decide to do Panam's second side quest, which is to rescue Saul from the Wraiths, which doing this pacifist is extremely easy since I've done this in normal playthroughs. Panam and I meet up with the other Aldecados who don't want to be involved even though their leader is literally being held captive, but I just choose to not argue with them and keep it cool.
Look around.
Carol, why are you screaming? We can all hear you. Mitch lets me look through a drone to get a clear view of the Wraith space. And this glitch again? Wasn't this one of the first glitches CDPR patched? Congrats, Project Red. You can't patch a bug that you've already patched. Anyways, a simple quick load did the job, which meant I had to talk to the Aldecados once again. After getting a clear view of the area I've already visited dozens of times, Panam and I make our way to the base. A sandstorm is starting to make its way to us, so we gotta make this quick and clean. I start by making my way to the very left side of the base, walking between the fence and rocks, run behind the crates, and make my way to the door. I make my way downstairs, almost getting caught, but thankfully I didn't. Steal some stuff while there is an enemy literally right there, and I find Saul. After injecting him with a mix of G Fuel and Mountain Dew Code Red, we make our way out. Luckily, my tech is high enough to move a broken gate, and why that requires tech is beyond me. And I'm also able to open the door to the sewer pipes. We eventually get out and get into the van that Panam conveniently parks right outside the sewer pipes. Unfortunately, the sandstorm is getting pretty bad, so now we have to find a place to hold up for the night. Panam asks me to get the power going, and thankfully my non-required expertise in tech gets the job done. And now she wants me to get the heat going, which requires me to go outside in the middle of a sandstorm. Okay, Panam, I'll just do everything, I guess. After everything is up and running, Panam and Saul get into a bit of an argument, and I try to settle the two of them down.
Maybe you're right.
We can't hope to handle the Raffins alone.
So you would sell us out to Biotechnica?
Did not work. Saul eventually leaves, tells us a fun fact,
Her boobs.
and now it's just me and Panam, and now it's time for me to make my move.
V. No.
No.
It's
No.
really nice as is. It's not
Oh, dear God. This can't be happening. I've been friend-zoned throughout my life, but for some reason this one just hurts the most. I wake up, Panam and Saul leave, and the mission is now complete. I decide to meet up with the Paralysis, but before I do that, let's do a particular mission, and never mind, he's sleeping. Again. What if I just wait a few hours? Maybe he'll wake up. Nope, still sleeping. Alright, cool. I get into a car, sit there admired by the Paralysis' professional ventriloquism, and take a look at a brain dance to see if I can gather any info on Ryan's death, and whether he was murdered and the police covered it up. After that, I give the detective that was in the brain dance, River Ward, a phone call, and we meet up at Chubby Buffalo's. That's like my favorite name for a restaurant, by the way. just want to point that out. Panam, I just did your side mission. I asked River for his help on solving the case, and he takes me to 2 locations. One of them is a shop with some certain stuff in it. I mean, River, I'm flattered, but I was thinking more maybe just a restaurant would be nice instead. Never mind, it's to talk to this guy about where the Red Queen's race is. Listen, I'm not one to judge someone's choice of hairstyle, but this guy really looked at himself in the mirror and said, yeah, this hairstyle is going to get me laid. After that, River and I head to the markets and talk to Christine Markov about the cyber psycho who was in the brain dance since he used to work for her. I meet River outside of the warehouse where the Red Queen's race is, and now I have to sneak in. First attempt was almost an immediate fail since apparently floors are see-through and I get spotted. Second attempt went a lot better since I decided to go to the left side instead of underneath. I go around the back, wait for this kind gentleman to get the f*** out of my way, and I make my way inside. Now, I do know which crate it is to open to gain access, but I decided to have a look around the area to find some stuff to take. During this, I get caught, but no need to worry because River is coming and he can take everyone out. Wait, can I just open the door? Oh, okay, cool. Now I just gotta wait for the elevator, and of course, there's no cover in the crate with a set of stairs. But hey, River's here, so he can take care of him, right? River, he's just walking down the stairs. Third attempt, I just make my way to the door, call the elevator, and make my way down to the lower levels, because I don't need common components anyways. There's a good amount of enemies here, and not the most amount of space to maneuver. Somehow I make it all the way to the animal boss without alerting anyone or taking anyone down non-lethally. I'll admit though, I didn't get it the first try. Seriously, you turned around as soon as I moved forward. I even waited a little bit, and now is when you move. God, this game's great sometimes. I reach the boss, put my arms around them, and whisper a little something in their ear, and decide to RKO them out of nowhere, but politely. And wait, River's Chum was responsible for covering up the murder of Ryan's death? This is so unacceptable and very non-pacifist. It's time for River and I to confront him. To the Rivermobile. We make it to Chubby Buffaloes to confront Han about what he did. That did not go as well as I would have hoped, and now I have to go visit the Paralysis and tell them what I know. I make it to their apartment. Johnny, a literal terrorist, tries to give me advice, and I tell the Paralysis that Welton Holt was behind Ryan's death, and for my good work I was given a good amount of money. Unfortunately, no pacifist bonus. So you know, everyone has already called me earlier, but Judy hasn't called yet since we saved Evelyn, so let's see how she's doing.
What's new? What's new at the mocks? How's Virtue? What's new? It was nice catching up. I'm right here, V. Call me anytime.
Alright, great chat. Time for some more side quests. I head over to the afterlife and talk to Nyx, who wants me to obtain the Book of Spells. I get in contact with R3N0, who is this, some rejected R2D2 model. She gives me coordinates for her location, and the book is $7 grand. God damn, this must be the greatest goddamn spellbook on the market. I bet it makes the College of Winterhold in fear for what kind of spells are contained in this book. After the payment though, I get directed to a suitcase next to a vending machine, and I decide to hack into the Book of Spells, which I'll admit took me a little bit because I forgot how to hack. I get myself some money and a couple of quick hacks, specifically weapon glitch. If I'm going to spread pacifism in the land of Night City, making weapons non-usable is a great way of doing it. I head back to the afterlife, give Nyx the book, and the mission is complete. Alright, let's go meet up with Takamura. On the way, I do some sick parkour, go for a little swim, and as I'm drying off, I sit on this barrier and wait. Takamura shows up, taking his sweet little time, and shortly after, Oda shows up. The two of us have to convince Oda that Yorinobu was responsible for the death of the Emperor, but no matter what we said, he wasn't buying it. Well, that was a waste of time. Instead, I come up with the idea of giving Wakako a quick visit to see if she can help us at all. On the way, I try to start a conversation with Takamura, and of course, it's awkward.
Yay.
We finally make it to Jig Street and...
Gary,
Yes, Russell?
can we talk to that Joy Toy?
Come on, not right now, man. We have to go talk to Wakako.
But you said that we would get to see some action.
Okay, but I was thinking more action with Judy or with River, not with a Joy Toy.
You got something against that Joy Toy?
No, I don't have anything against the Joy Toy. I'm not doing this right now.
Please?
No.
I said please.
And I said no. I'm literally arguing with a collectible right now. What does my life come to? We arrive at Wakako's and ask her for some help.
Did Mr. Deshawn not come to the phone?
Yeah, Takamura, you remember what happened to T-Pain? Wakako gives us intel on the upcoming parade in Japantown, and also the fact that Hanako Arasaka, the Emperor's daughter, will be there at the parade. However, it's not as easy as just walking up to her and being like, yo, listen, your brother kinda killed your father and now he needs to go to jail. Takamura and I have to find a way to get around the guards, snipers, and a netrunner. After we leave Wakako's, Takamura tells me that he will investigate a little bit more before coming up with a plan.
Until next time.
Well, now that that's over, it's time for us to...
Gary,
Yes, Russell?
can we please talk to that Joy Toy?
Okay, fine. Let's fucking talk to this Joy Toy.
Oh yeah.
Well, after that, I make my way to the Aldecado's camp, and Panam and Mitch have a plan for obtaining a Basilisk, a weaponized vehicle that would give the Aldecados the upper hand in terms of offense and defense. But of course, Saul is not on board with it, so we go behind his back and do it anyways. The gang and I make our way to a train control tower, with the plan of using the train to stop the Militech convoy that has the Basilisk. Panam and I make our way inside.
That was quick.
We walk up some stairs, and now we are at the top of the tower.
Carol! What are we looking for?
After the was found, the train is now up and running, and now it's time to sit around the campfire and sing our little campfire song. Man, I'm exhausted, so I'm just gonna take a little nap.
Is everyone ready?
Well, after waking up from whatever that was, the gang gets into their vehicles and we follow the train. The train is going too fast, but after shooting the train coupler, we are now in business. The train stops Militech, and now everyone is out of their vehicles and shooting each other while I am still sitting here in the turret. I decide to take care of the drone, making sure I don't hit any human enemies, and this causes the turret to malfunction, and now I am out and free! There are 12 Militech enemies, but luckily I came prepared with 6 other people, so they took care of them with little to no problem. I ran around, collected some loot, and we all made our way back to the camp with the Basilisk in our disposal. Look, Saul, we did it. We got the Basilisk, man. He does not look too happy. But at least the mission is complete. I give Mr. Hands a call even though I'm not going to Pacifica yet, and I head to meet Takamura now that he's got a plan. But before I do that, I go to a weapon shop to purchase a weapon, and Panam, I just did your... And I head to a Ripper dock to purchase the crafting spec for the target analysis mod. And nope, I'm not buying it to get cash. That's been patched out since 1.5. I'm actually going to use it, and now all my weapons are non-lethal. I'm also going to take this time to mention my plan when I encounter someone that I have to fight in order to proceed. My first option is non-lethal takedown. If that doesn't work, then I will use melee. If that doesn't work, then a weapon will be my last option.
And if that don't work, use more gun.
And if I have to use melee or weapons, then I will give myself a point. I meet up with Takamura, and he has a virus that can hijack the network and give us access to the location of the snipers. We decide to give it a bit of a test, and sure enough, it actually works. We celebrate our victory with some meatballs on a stick because everything is better on a stick. Like corn dogs, fudgesicles, I don't know, bagels. Fast forward a little bit, and now Takamura and I are right outside the facility where all the floats for the parade are. We get up to the top of a building next to the facility to scout out the area and come up with a plan. We get the info that we need, Takamura gets spooked by a cat, and now it's time for me to enter the facility. I enter from the right side, parkour over the barrier, and hugging the right side kept me out of sight of the guards and cameras. Once I am inside, I make my way to the upper floor, and on my way there's a guard blocking my path. I use the distract quick hack to move him, but this literally did nothing. Well, okay, he got distracted, but he's facing the direction I'm trying to go. Also, for some reason, I can't run, so this just makes things a bit harder. I hack the floodlight again and try to move forward as the guard is walking towards the light, but with my timing being the absolute worst and having no ability to sprint, I get spotted and I reset since Takamura will not be able to help me. And even if he could, there would be way too many enemies and I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours. I try using the distract quick hack on a camera, but it's too far from the guard so he doesn't budge. I try the floodlight once again, and now that I can actually sprint, I get past him easily. I hide on the other side of the door, and once the guard is back to his normal position, I sneak past him and jump down to the floor level. Between me and the float are 2 guards, but luckily distracting them with objects made it easy to slip past. I proceed to hack the float even though there's a guard right there, and now it's time to escape and Takamura opens the roof. Great, I'm on the ground and he opens the roof. Thanks, bro. I try to make it up there without getting caught, but after almost getting caught several times, I just said screwed it, climbed the roof, perform a leap of faith, and managed to escape the facility, completing the mission. I also decide to finally obtain the ping quick hack just so that way I can complete the mission, and Judy finally decides to call me. And unfortunately, it is about Evelyn. I make it to Judy's apartment, and she's sitting on the tub crying while looking at Evelyn, who has taken her own life. Judy and I sit on the roof and talk for a little bit, and this completes Judy's first mission. So now it's time to complete Panam's last mission, since she has called me more times than my father has in the last 5 years. I do make a safety save here because this is the mission where V and Panam get to test out the Basilisk and the Aldecado's camp gets invaded by the Raffins. If the only way of getting rid of them is for me shooting them, then I will have to load up the save I just made and not do the mission at all, but I just want to see what happens. I make it to the camp and the Basilisk is ready. It's not ready. 5 seconds go by and now it's ready. The 2 of us hop inside, take it out for a little spin, and do some target practice. The Raffins have surrounded me and Panam, so I just book it back to the camp, avoiding hitting any of them. We make it back to the camp and there are 28 enemies in total, but thankfully the other Aldecados are armed and ready and they are shooting down the Raffins. Oh, what's this guy doing? You're really gonna try and take down the Basilisk all by your little self? Oh, that's cute. If you're trying to get me to shoot you, it's not gonna happen. Don't get me wrong, I really do want to shoot you, but it's not gonna happen. Alright, we're almost there. Just one more, and let's go. The Raffins are down and I didn't fire a single shot. A big moment for Panam is happening right now, but I decide to lose some stuff instead. Afterwards, Panam and I celebrate with some drinks. She has a beer and I'll take a lemonade, I guess. Turns out the lemonade has been expired for 3 years, since who the f drinks lemonade? I collapse to the floor, I wake up, attempt to explain to Panam about the chip in my head, but she's not understanding a single word I say.
So take it out.
And the mission is complete, which that means the entirety of Panam's side quests have been completed without killing anyone.
But there has to be something. Someone who can... Remember Hellman?
Still mad about the cave, by the way, Panam. I'm just letting you know. While we are on the topic of completing NPC side quests, let's start Rivers. But before we do that, we're going to watch a little bit of TV with them. Alright, it's on commercial break, so River and I decide to break into the lab of the Night City Police Department. Because everybody does that on commercial break, right? A few minutes of wandering around inside go by, and the 2 of us get caught. After a little persuasion, Yawin? I think it's pronounced Yawin. Decides to help us out. Oh, wait, I got an idea. How about we... Okay, just interrupt me, why don't you? The 2 of us head back to the car and take a trip to River's sister's place to tell her the bad news about Randy. But also not to tell her the bad news? Like, which one is it, River?
Sophie, is this about my Randy?
We go through Randy's things to find any sort of lead of where he could possibly be. I find Randy's Alienware computer and look through his messages, completely invading any sort of privacy Randy had. Once we find some sort of connection, which is this strange little video, it gets sent to the lab so that way Harris can start dreaming and we can possibly find out where Randy is. I get woken up out of nowhere and get to sit through not 1, not 2, but 3 brain dances.
Look.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 3 brain dances. At least we got the location of Randy, but freaking 3 brain dances, 1 is already tedious. It's time for us to head to Edgewood Farm to the Rivermobile. The area is being surveillanced, turrets are everywhere, and the ground is covered in mines. Don't worry, I'm very good at not getting spotted. That's basically what I've done for this whole playthrough. Don't worry, I'm pretty good at maneuvering around mines. I finally get inside, take this melee weapon out of habit, and deactivate the security. Now it's time to get into the...
Get down!
Now it's time to...
Damn it, right behind you!
River, why are you screaming? I took care of all of that. Jesus, River. We get inside the barn, rescue Randy, and thankfully he is still alive.
Hello?
River is looking like he's about to drop the hottest bars in rap history. River wants to kill Harris, even though the guy is practically dead at this point, but after telling him the ways of the pacifist, he just nods, walks away, and the mission is complete. Alright, I won't lie. I originally was going to end the video here, but this didn't seem like the mission to end the video on, so let's do one more. It's time we go to the Arasaka parade. I push through several groups of crowds, which is not doing wonders for my frame rate, and I make it to the first sniper. The only way I can take him out is with a non-lethal takedown, and unfortunately that's going to be the case with the other 2 because I have no other ways of dealing with them. Reaching the second sniper required an elevator ride up, wrong floor, and maneuvering down a building while avoiding detection from the drones. I reach the bottom and there's a guard, but luckily I can distract him with the satellite dish and I proceed onwards. I make my way inside and the second sniper is dealt with. Getting to the third sniper is not as bad except for the fact that there are some guards in my path. The first one is right up these stairs, and first attempt I was spotted, so I reset. Second attempt I quick hacked an intercom which got the guard off the stairs and I was able to move forward. This second guard, on the other hand, was a lot trickier, because he was right next to the entryway where I needed to go. My first thought was to see if I could just dash through. Nope. I tried quick hacking the fridge, but it was way too far away for the guard to notice. I tried hacking the computer he was using, and he really didn't change position that much, and to no one's surprise, I was caught. And again. Then, almost out of ideas, I hacked the intercom, which is, mind you, the same distance to the guard as the fridge, and magically it worked. I'm not going to ask questions, I'm just going to proceed onwards. This guard up ahead was easy to deal with since there was conveniently a floodlight right next to him, and I do a bit more climbing, quietly and politely sneak past these 2 guards, and V forgets how to climb, so I get spotted. After getting back to where I was, I make it to the third sniper while completely forgetting that there was a drone that looks through the windows. This time around, I wait for the drone to move, and I disable some mines by glaring at them, and the third and final sniper is dealt with. Last but not least is dealing with the netrunner. Thankfully, we don't have to kill them, we just have to disconnect them, and Oda returns once again, making this the first boss fight of the series. My first instinct was to just run away and hide from Oda. This may seem like a coward thing to do, and while you are right, I did learn something from a past playthrough of mine. If you hide long enough from Oda, the area will no longer be in combat. Granted, I did that on accident when I found this out, however, it may be to our advantage. My plan is to see if I can possibly take him down by performing a takedown rather than using a weapon. Even though my weapons are now non-lethal, I only want to use them if they are required. 2 main problems with this. First off, sometimes Oda will be on one of the high platforms which I can't access, and even if I could, he could easily spot me putting the area back into combat. And additionally, if I were to sneak up on him, there's a chance that he could just turn around with little to no warning and put the area back in combat. I noticed that there were some cameras around, so I wanted to see if I can use them to distract Oda, and while he can be distracted by them, it's not consistent and it doesn't nearly last as long. It does take a bit, but I eventually get my first opportunity to perform a takedown. Unfortunately, I don't have a lethal or non-lethal option, but I wanted to just see how much damage this would do. 1%. It took 1% of this man's total health. After seeing this, I said to myself, there is no way I'm going to have to perform a ton of takedowns to take down Oda. I wanted to see if changing the difficulty would change anything, and sure enough, it was still 1%. It was at this point I would either have to perform takedowns, find another method entirely, or just use a weapon. The third one was the one I wanted to avoid the most. I decided to try a couple more takedowns to see if anything would happen, and this happened.
V, what is your status?
I...
So I kind of broke Oda's arm, but the fight is over and it only required 2 takedowns. And better yet, he's still alive. He's moving around and my crosshair is still red, indicating that Oda is still kicking. I tell him it's his lucky day and ask him if he could join my pacifist club. He refused, by the way. I watch Takamura try to talk to Hanako and he decides to kidnap her instead, which causes Arasaka to go ballistic and the two of us are making a run for it. We eventually arrive at a hotel. Takamura tried to offer the damsel some tea.
You kidnap Hanako Arasaka and offer her a cup of fucking tea?
Yes, she respectfully declined.
And I take this precious time we have to talk about the greatest mobile game of all time, Raid Shadow Legends. Just to clarify, for legal reasons, I am not sponsored. This was simply a very stupid joke. However, while I was talking to her about it, Arasaka finds us. Johnny tells me to get the heck out of here, but I really want to try and save Takamura. I try sneaking past everybody, however this physically is not possible since there's nowhere to hide and there are too many guards to try and avoid, so I just run for the upper floor and find Takamura taking cover behind a bed. And unfortunately, I come to the realization that the only way to get Takamura out is to take care of the troopers who are currently shooting at him. Obviously the area is in combat, so takedowns are not going to happen. And even if I could get the area out of combat, I would have to make my way back up to where Takamura is and avoid detection, which I stated before is physically not possible. So I took some time to experiment a bit and I tried using EMPs, which, mind you, are non-lethal, to see if just stunning the troopers would get Takamura out of cover. However, in my experimentation, I killed 2 soldiers, so I reset and had to come to the conclusion that I could simply not save Takamura without taking anyone down. And I'm not about to rack up 3 to 4 points just to save him. So, I'm sorry Takamura, it was really nice knowing you. I eventually escape and time goes by a bit and now I'm in a hotel room with a shotgun in my hand, even though I didn't have a shotgun in my backpack. A doll walks in, which turns out to be Hanako trying to contact us. She asks more about Raid Shadow Legends, however she ran out of spare change and her time ran out. The doll gets up and leaves, and I proceed to leave the hotel room, and that's where... Alright V, thanks for interrupting me. And this will conclude part 3 of the series. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you liked it or not in the comments section, as well as some feedback on how I can make these videos better. I'm always down for some ideas in regards of improving my content. I also want to say that I will continue to work on this series exclusively until we reach the end and work on other content afterwards. I do wish I can get these videos out sooner, however, working a full-time job and the amount of time these videos take to record and edit, I'm not able to get them out as quickly as I would like. But just know that I am working on these as much as I possibly can, and I appreciate your guys' support and patience. Anyways, that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching, and without further ado, I will see you in the next one. Later.